Good evening. The title of my story is Innovate or Die, which is maybe a provoking title. Let's see, it suggests there is a choice. As a speaker of the high-tech industry, I want to give you the answers to the question how to maximize creativity in your organization. And it's absolutely needed to solve the and paradox. Creativity is all about making connections in your brain with your team. In my opinion, to be successful, you need a mix of freedom and structure. And this Pachacucha night is a wonderful example. Creative audience and a structure of 20 times 20. But first, why should we innovate? I really like the quote of former Hewlett-Packard CEO Louis Platt. Whatever made you successful in the past won't in the future. A company has to adapt and change to keep on bringing value to the customers. And this brings me to the and paradox. Let's take cars from 30 years ago as an example. The Volvo was the safe car. We accepted bad design and looks. The Alfa Romeo had a great design. You accepted a lack of reliability. And the Mercedes was the quality car. We all accepted the high price. But what we see now is that this classic trade-off is not valid anymore. I guess global competition and co-development is one of the reasons. We expect quality. We do not want to pay more for it. Same for functionality, service level, and safety. So, we want it all. And this is what I call the and paradox. Look at your smartphone. New products must have and more functionality, and be easier to operate, and smaller, and customizable, and should cost less. And this, of course, has big impact. And to crack this and paradox, we need a high level of creativity. Breakthroughs. Not normal modifications, but clever concept changes are crucial. The solution will not be found if we look in only one direction. We need skilled creative people of different disciplines working together. And when we talk about creative people, of course, there are many examples. I think Apple is a great example today. Apple cracks the and paradox by being creative and by making very clear choices. But is Steve Jobs himself creative? Or is he the leader, who pushes this organization to the max? And this brings me to the question, who is creative? My statement, everyone. So the challenge is how to drive creativity of your team when you need it. How to drive creativity. And to understand, we first need to know the process of creativity. And I made a short summary for you. First, reuse. Every idea is based on another idea. Secondly, your brain works top-down. Everything you know has big impact on the way you translate input. The 10-year rule tells you that you need 10 years of practice before you do top inventions. And finally, we think in patterns. And that means if you want to be creative, we have to think a little bit different. We have to break fixation, go out of the box. Unconsciousness helps with other connections. Be relaxed. But of course, never, never, never give up. So, how to drive this creative process? Most important is the innovation-driven leader. This leader creates diverse teams, stimulates knowledge sharing, and gives the people moments to be creative. But most important, this leader sets challenging targets. No restrictions means no pressure, means no change. In combination, of course, with securing trust. Stimulate taking risks and tolerate making mistakes. So, are you in a correct state of mind? Or are you in a comfortable 20-second pattern? Let's break fixation. Of course, I cannot change the duration of this slide. I only can change what is happening between your ears. And who cares about those lost seconds? An example of successfully unlocking the and paradox. Eindhoven, recently called the smartest community of the world. Reason, the Open Innovation Network. In this picture, you see the high-tech campus. 8,000 people, 90 companies, 50 nationalities. And TNO, a Dutch research institute. And the topic is rather technically. I summarize the key items. The end product is electronics and solar cells. They must get smaller, more powerful, and use less energy. And to do this, in future, ships will be stacked on each other with very small connections internally. It sounds easy? It is not. Because the process to make these small connections is very robust, but also very slow. Two different types of gas repeatedly create holes in the electronics. So this process asks for repeatedly filling and emptying a 30-liter volume. This is not very efficient. And this is the inventor team I'm happy to work with. All different skills and disciplines, willing to commit to the restrictions and determined to break the and paradox. Faster, lower cost, less energy consumption. The only way, a breakthrough, a radical change of thinking. And the solution could not have been found if only one person did it on only one set of skills. With a combination of clever steps, the team radically reinvented the process. They made the chemical process much, much smaller, made it possible to have many isolated gas bells on a plate, and moved the electronics instead of the gas. So a mixed team with challenging targets went out of the box and solved the paradox. 10 to 100 times faster, less waste, lower cost. Of course, they did not succeed at once, and this is just the beginning. Now we have to find partners to make this commercially. Who is going to join us? I thank you all for your attention.